I just want to look at one more bit of differentiation here, okay? Similarities and differences, right? Now I'm going to take this hand off. It better not disappear also. Okay, so obviously very similar. When we look at the structure of a foot compared to the hand, we can see that there's three basic sections. We'll be covering this in detail, I think, probably next week. We'll start with the foot. By the way, we're going to start with the foot and work our way up through the body when we're dealing with articular anatomy. We start with the foundation, and that's the foot. So you can see that there are these sort of irregularly shaped bones, which in the foot are called the tarsals, and which in the hand are called the carpals. Okay? This section here, this is the tarsals. This section here are the carpals. Right? What's the first thing you can notice in terms of the differences?
Bigger.
Yeah, they're much bigger in the foot, much smaller in the hand. They only occupy this much of the length of the hand compared to basically half the length of the foot. The metatarsals and the metacarpals actually occupy the same proportional length of the hand and the foot, roughly 30%. And then the phalangeal structures, which in the foot are basically from here to here, they occupy as small a proportion of the foot as the carpals do of the hand. Whereas in the hand, the phalangeal joints occupy 1/2 the length of the extremity, which is what the tarsals do in the foot. So another way of saying it is that the proportions are exactly reversed from the hand to the foot. And this makes perfect sense when you consider that this is for locomotion, for weight bearing and propulsion and all of those things that we talked about. Okay? That's what these big, dense, irregular bones are accomplishing in the foot. The part of the foot that can reach and grasp and hold things, well, we don't really use it so much for that. So that section of the foot is proportionally the least emphasized. It occupies only 20% of the length of the foot. But that's the most important thing that the hand does. So half the length of the hand are the fingers, the phalangeal structures. Okay? Now the woman we saw who had no arms, who was using her feet as hands, what I would guess is that she is able to recruit her metatarsals a lot more. So she's adding the articulation that's possible through the metatarsals to the length of the phalangeal structures, so that she has all of that dexterity in her feet. But what does this tell us about our arm and hand supports? We're always telling people, don't let all the weight sink into your wrist. Why? Because you have a tiny wrist. It's a hand, it's not a foot. You don't have tarsals, you have carpals, and they're tiny. These little things here. What chance do you have of holding your body weight up on these if that's all you're using? You have to recruit your metacarpals to become part of the support structure of the hand, just as that woman was recruiting her metatarsals to become part of the grasping articulate structure of her foot. So when we look at and these are things obviously that we sort of know intuitively. We have bodies, we've done down dog, we've tried to do all these things, and we know from experience and perhaps from being taught that you have to recruit more than just the carpals when you're doing an arm support. If you want to be articulate in your foot, okay, you saw what Amy was doing with her foot there, just sitting and talking, I hope you all got to see that. We got it on camera, right? Yes. I've been wanting that on camera forever. We finally have your foot movement on camera, is what I was saying. Right? It's on record now. you have to be more articulate with the metatarsals in order to do that. Okay, so we looked at the comparisons of similarities and differences, and again, from the standpoint of sthira and sukha, okay, the foot as a whole is more of the sthira extremity compared to the hand, but the distribution of those elements within the foot is very revealing. Again, this is the sthira part of the foot. This is more of the sukha part, okay? And here in the hand, obviously, much more space between the structures, okay? And the sthira element is less emphasized in the carpals.